record on this one. Okay, let's do it.
Okay, got it.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, ready? Okay,
Ready.
so good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning, Mariano. So today is a very special day. We like to introduce Mariano Soup, a new PlayOnside ambassador, and he will be with us today to share with us what motivates him to become in this super important position in the organization. And everybody will have the time and the opportunity to know about his very interesting background and his link with PlayOnside over the last 7 years. So good morning, Mariano. How are you?
Good morning. Yes, pretty good. Doing good here in Okinawa.
Okinawa. So you are in Japan right now?
Yes, with my family, we've been in Okinawa for the last 3 years. So yes, we're on this small island in Japan.
Okay. How are things right now in Japan? Everything okay?
The yen is getting too low, too high for you guys. Anyway, like, yeah. Besides the economy, everything's going well. Yes, here. So
All right.
Corona cases are going lower a little bit. So we are getting into a more like a normal life, kind of. So yeah, it's pretty good.
You are, I heard that you're from Argentina, but
That's
you are
right.
living also in Thailand, that you speak Korean, and then you speak Japanese. Now you live in Okinawa. So can you explain a little bit about your story and your
All right.
background and
Okay.
why we are here?
So like you say, I born in Argentina. I'm from Buenos Aires. Uh, when I was 18 years old, I got a scholarship to play football or to play soccer. So I went to the States for 4 years. And since then, I spent most of my life abroad. I haven't been back in Argentina for a long time. So since I was 18 years old, I started traveling all around. So 4 years in US, studying and playing soccer through this scholarship. I have a teammate from Korea. So he asked me to go to Korea to play football. I went there for 2 years. I got a nice scholarship to play in Daegu, which is a south city in Korea. So I learned Korean language over there. And then after 2 years over there, I got a new scholarship because of my social work in orphanage in Korea. So I got 2 years scholarship to go to Japan for the first time. So before I graduate here in Japan, I got a kind of internship and work opportunity to travel around the world through this organization, which is called the Peace Boat. So I went into the Peace Boat, which is like a big ship, 1,000 people going to 20 different countries all around the world, meeting different NGOs in different ports. That's how I met my wife over there. And so that was kind of the beginning of traveling. We came back to Japan after, I think it was the trip, it was about 4 months. So after that, I got an opportunity to go to China. And so for 2 years as a teacher. So after 2 years in China, my wife got pregnant. So we decided to come back to Japan. And I spent almost 2 years, another 2 years in Japan, where I was teaching international schools. So I have this kind of background into education. So all my studies are based on psychology, social studies, human rights, peace education, sports, and teaching. So we stayed for 2 years after that. I want to go back to Korea. So I got a new scholarship to go to one of the top universities in Korea. I was awarded this government scholarship for 4 years to get my master's degree in international development. So after traveling around South America a little bit for 6 months, that was the time after 10 years I returned to Argentina. I introduced my kids to my parents. So we stayed there for 6 months, just not working, just, traveling around Chile, Colombia. So
Cannot believe that you were not working, that you got a break.
I got a break, 6 months break, family time, going to Machu Picchu with my son on my arms, on my shoulder. So
That's
it was after all this, basically like 10 years of studying, volunteering, working. 2011, it was the time to take a break. So
nice.
we took about 5 to 6 months. After that little break, we moved back to Korea. So where I got this master degree, 1 year studying only Korean, 2 years focusing on international development, and that's how I got into sports for development and peace. That's how I got into using sports to improve the social inequalities in local communities. And that's how I met our friend Phil Nayland. He was the coach. Yeah, Phil. He's in Vietnam now.
Yeah.
That's how I met him. So he was coaching little kids. I was interested in giving a little hand in terms of not coaching only, but bringing all this expertise of sports for development and peace. So we met at local organizations over there as well with kids who didn't have a good social and economic background. So we kind of start promoting this free coaching for them, traveling around, making a team with these, underprivileged kids in Korea. So that was the beginning of something. So after 4 years in Korea, I thought, well, now it's time to move on to a new place. And I found one of my friends was in Thailand at that time. He was working for Save the Children. So he said, like, you should come to Thailand. I'm sure you can find some kind of work for teaching and NGOs. So, yep, we moved to Thailand. And, there was never a plan to go back to Argentina. So, and that's been the norm so far for the last, I'm 41 years old now. So when I left Argentina, I was 18. So since that time until now, you can see I live more time abroad than in Argentina. So I feel like a tourist if I go to Argentina these days. So yeah, and that's been the, a little the background of, why we travel so much. And now I have 2 kids. Ken is 12 years old. Yuki, she's 8 years old. And yeah, we keep moving, we keep traveling. And right now we're back in Japan. So we'll see until when. But yeah, that's a little bit the background of why we travel so much.
A little bit, right? That's just a little bit.
That's just 20 years of history there.
I told you it's Argentina, so. Okay, so then we are in 2015, and then you moved to Thailand, to Bangkok, basically. And somehow, I remember I got an email from someone called like Mariano, which it was something confusing about the Spanish name, but like a Japanese surname. But so, and then I think it was the first time we got in touch.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how you were in Bangkok and working in international school. How did you get to know PlayOnside, and what was your interest, like to take your time, send an email, and then 7 years after we are here? So.
Yeah. So let me give you a little background again. All right. So May 2015, we arrived to Thailand with my kids. And I got an offer to teach an international school there in Bangkok. So I always have this idea. I want to find a balance between all my studies in Korea about sport for development, peace education, and not only teaching and taking care of the tech parts. My background for teaching is in technology, how to use technology to improve the quality of teaching and education for kids from kindergarten all the way to high school. So that's my teaching background. But I want to do that, and then I want to keep doing something with sport for development. So we got into Bangkok, going through all the visa things. End of June, I think we finally have a stable life. So I start searching for organizations that, you know, they do something with sports in Bangkok. So I was meeting with my friend from Save the Children. He was introducing people from UNESCO. And there was something about sports. You know, I think it was, what's the name? Not PlayOnside, it was something else. I'm sure you know this organization, like, it's all about sport. One more time.
Right to Play?
Yes, Right to Play. Thank you. Right to Play. I found out about this organization in Bangkok, Right to Play. So I sent an email, you know, like, look, my name is Mariano. I have this background in sport for development. I would love to do something with sport. If you know anything, you know, like community or something that I can do, please let me know. No reply. So we were with my kids and with my wife walking around Bangkok, and I found this magazine. Okay, you know, for those who don't know, in Bangkok, you have so many, you know, restaurants and places to hang out, and all these places, they have a kind of local magazine, like for local people, right, for foreigners. So I was checking, and the last page, it was one article about this fundraising from this restaurant, like, tell me what the name, these people from, yeah, Barcelona Gaudi. So this restaurant, like Spanish food, they were collecting money to donate to these organizations in the middle of nowhere. So we're like, wow, you know, like they're trying to, well, yes, sorry, that nowhere was method. So I checked that, and there was an email. So I was like, wow, wonderful. Spanish people, sports, donation. This is perfect for me. I need to send an email. So I wrote that email saying, like, look, this is my background. And just keep in mind, during that time, I was still helping the people in Korea. In Korea, they have a similar organization about sports, football. And my boss at that time, yes, dear Phil, Coach Phil, he said, like, once you go to Thailand, once you have a stable life, try to find something that we can connect and collaborate with some local organizations there, and I will support you whatever you want to do. So I have Phil, you know, like sending message to me and like, how's everything? How's life there?
Did you find anything?
Did you find anything? So I was like, not there, not yet. So I sent that email. I think at the same time, I met another people from Japanese. My wife is Japanese, so we want our kids to play football, and they have a Japanese soccer school academy. Mm-hmm. So that people also knew they were going to this same town, Method, sometime on December. So I said, like, wait a minute. I read on this magazine about this organization. It's called PlayOnside. Are you going to the same place? And they're like, PlayOnside? We don't know PlayOnside, but we're going to Method. So we're like, wow, same place. They're going to the same place during the same time. I really need to get this reply from this guy. So
I normally reply like once a day.
Yeah, I think it was within a week. Fair enough. Yes, within a week, I got a reply from
people in the staff. We were only two, you know, so.
Yeah, it took a little time, but yeah,
I got a reply. As you can imagine, we were getting tons of emails from different people. So
I'm sure. Yeah. So like within a week, I got a reply from you. Oh, this is Javier. Very nice, you know, very nice email. I still have it.
Right.
And then
and no, like using connectors, it was kind of impressive, right?
Yeah. And so after I got your email, I talked with this guy. I don't know if you remember, like, what was his name? Sochi? No, I forgot. He's gonna kill me. He was a Japanese coach who was coaching my son,
Ah,
and he said, "I know the guy who's going to Mesod. Do you want to come with us?" I like, and that guy was Daiki. For those who don't know Daiki, Daiki is a good friend of us who is current Thai. He's coaching in one of the Thai teams on Division One, and he's in charge of one organization which is called Peace Ball Action, who goes to different places to donate soccer balls. And he was going to Mesod to run this clinic with professional Japanese players. And they say, Mariano, come with us. So I sent, I
like
think I sent
nah,
message to you.
yes.
I said, yeah. So I sent
The
message
fact
to
you're
Javi
already
after I got your reply and said like, wonderful, look, it's great to know about all your work. I would love to go there and see, you know, from my eyes, what you guys are doing there. If you have time during this tournament, I would love to meet you. And that was the beginning. That was like, you know, we have an appointment on Mikasa. Mikasa is one of the
Casa Mia.
famous local, hopefully still open. I don't know if it's open or
Yeah,
closed
yeah,
now.
yeah. Of course. I mean, it's
Still
a classic.
open.
Casa Mia, eh?
So
For the record.
Casamia, sorry, no, yes, Casamia, that's the name. So we have a dinner with Javi, with you, and we start talking about, you know, what are the things we could do. And first I asked you like, can you show me around? So it was that was the first step into, you know, knowing PlayOnside, Method, and the all the struggle that the local community, the Burmese migrant community were going through. So that was my first, you know, touch, my first contact with all this wonderful community over there.
I think at the beginning, at that moment, we were very small. I mean, so it's like, okay, what make you feel like, okay, this is, they're not maybe right now, but
Yeah.
what is the potential of this organization or place or also to believe the impact of football, I guess.
Well, first thing, I think for all those who know PlayOnside, the answer is quite simple. But I will focus for those people who don't know PlayOnside. One of the things when you arrive to Mesor or when you meet somebody from PlayOnside, remember we're talking about 7 years ago. 7 years ago, PlayOnside is not what it is now. So having you know, pick me up from the hotel, you know, having all these little touch, little kind of a very humanistic approach to people who you don't know. That told me something. You know, like I knew from the beginning that you, Javi, you were like really, you know, 100%. No, you were like 120% into this project. So that was something that I really, you know, I appreciate I really saw that passion that you had and you still have for all the work that you do. So when you have people like that involved in any kind of project, it doesn't matter if it's sports or teaching or, you know, business. When you have these kind of people who show you the passion and truly believe in what they're doing, that's something that I want to be part of it. And so that was, you know, like when you were talking, when you were explaining to me what you're doing or what was the plan for the future, I thought this is it. You know, besides our communication in Spanish and that connection between, you know, kind of like a not
Football.
brotherhood, but more like a family. Yeah. So that was something like, yeah, this is it. I need to talk with Phil. so
And you did.
that was the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a instant click, I think, as well. Maybe it was the culture, but I also think it's that I think we speak the same language when it comes to
Yeah.
values, philosophy, dealing with the community and how we understand social work. From my side, I mean, particularly was also like, yeah, something is gonna happen. This is too smooth to just leave it here. So then I think it was, yeah, we were dreaming and we were talking and we were like, okay, what else? What can we do, no?
Yeah.
And so over the last 7 years, you brought a lot to us. but maybe people don't really know what has been your support. If you can refresh my mind as well, it would be nice to
Yeah,
also
I mean,
to get to
one
know
of my
you.
first, yeah, one of my first goals was like to, again, back in school when you go to, when you go into a master degree for development, one of the things like they say, the teacher say to me at least, it was like, whatever you do, make it big. So whatever you do, bring people into whatever you believe. It doesn't matter if we're talking about 7 years ago. So technology was part of this kind of like media, how to use media to create awareness about a movement or a project. So that was something that I want to do at the beginning. I want to start making small videos and introducing myself from my point of view. And maybe you can share later on with this wonderful community about my very depressive videos. Oh, Mesot is very sad, like. But that was the idea, of introducing Mesot. So remember, we still have Coach Phil around here, so I have to share not only my view of what was Mesot and the struggle that all these Burmese children, migrant children community were going through, but it was more into how can I, you know, get people interested in this project. So I started making videos. I started writing some reports, more for me than for sharing with other people. So then I talked with Phil and said like, look, we need to do something with this community. I think we have a similar, view of how can we use sports for the social community, how to improve social communities. So I started talking with Phil and said like, what is something that we can do? So we discussed with you as well, like some kind of brainstorm about, besides making videos and maybe getting some donors into supporting this project, what else can we do? So we came up with the idea of focusing on the local community, of how can we empower the local coaches. And that time we didn't have many coaches, okay, and so we thought, why not if we create a coaching program that can empower the local people there to to start involving more kids, making more teams, involving more migrant learning centers. So why we not only think about tournaments, what about making a coaching program from scratch? So, and that was kind of the first big project that we have in common. Like I was thinking, okay, we need to make this happen. We need to get coaches. How can we make it more like a real program? So that was one of the main things as well that we focus on. And the other thing was making like a tour. I think that was the other big thing on the first year.
That
How
was
can
yeah,
we?
that was part of the coaching training. So it was
Yeah,
the method,
right. So
and
it was like,
certificate, and then we went to discover the border.
right. So it was like, again, back to Phil. Phil, you need to come. He was in Korea at that time. So I say to Coach Phil from IFE, International Football Education. That was the organization that I worked before in Korea. So I say, Phil, please, you need to come September. Let's have, actually, it wasn't September. It was, I think, December, end of the year.
December, it was December.
So
We had Christmas together in the middle.
right. So Phil, come here. Let's have a coaching program for local members, and then we can give a certificate from this US organization. Okay, so it was very official. It was a very good thing. So the idea is not only giving a paper. Let's give them kind of the hands-on coaching, right? So the idea of having theory and knowledge, well, those coaches who want to apply that knowledge, let's invite them to be part of this method tour, border tour. I think it was on the border tour. Yeah. So, and the idea of the border tour, we got a sponsorship from Korean, I think it was a Korean construction company who pay for the whole, what was it, 5 days? I forgot the number of days.
Yeah, total was a week, a full week, I
A
think.
week.
And
Going,
the border, yeah.
so it was going around different different learning centers in across the border, not only Mesot, and see from our eyes, like what was the situation in those places. And at the same time, we give them opportunities to those coaches, which was only one coach besides Ule and Javi. I think it was our dear friend Piso. So to be part of this,
Current director of PlayOnside, by the way.
current director of the PlayOnside, that's correct. Yes.
Imagine the impact.
Yep. Awesome. That was the impact that we believe at that time, right? So, and of course, Phil was part of this. Yeah. So that was the idea of having among all the work that we later on came. I think that was the main the foundation stone of this program, of this collaboration, local coaching program, and this kind of tour that we did only one time. I think that helped us to to plan what came later on. So I think that was the beginning.
It was pretty bonding, the minivan with the four of us, with the footballs everywhere, just landing.
Carrying the football, like fixing the shower that somebody broke in one of the places. Yeah, it was very bonding. Christmas, we spent Christmas together. Don't forget that as well. So it was very nice. Yes.
No, for us was, I think, and I think that's why for us you've been like part of the family since then, because it's also things that we were creating 7 years ago is what PlayOnside has been working on after that, and the idea of the coaches, like giving the youth the opportunity to learn skills, to equip them with tools to bring impact to the community, it came from there. So
now it's another a different level, very high level than what we start. But yes, if you look back,
how to start? I mean, with something.
That was the beginning. That was the beginning. Yes,
of course. And then I, as just like a little summary over the years, how has been your involvement with PlayOnside? Because then you were in Thailand and you had more access to come every year to see how the project goes, to link us with another organizations, to join different events. But then you moved and you're still there. So how do you see yourself like?
Yeah. So after 4 years in Thailand, we stayed 4 years with my family in Bangkok. So I was going at least 2 or 3 times a year to Meso during that time. So I was very involved with whatever you guys were doing there, planning tournaments and events. So after we decided to move back to Japan, where we are now in Okinawa, so I was thinking, okay, what else I want to get in, I want to be part of this family still. So a few things that I was thinking, like, what are the things that I can do from this side? Yeah, from a different country. So I start talking about PlayOnside. Remember, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator. So one thing that I believe is, awareness is empowering, right? So once you know about issues or global issues or local issues, then people want to get involved. Or that's what I believe. So I start teaching from grade 1 to grade 12. So I start sharing with my colleagues, with my students, all about, education is not easy. Schools don't look like the schools that we have in Japan. So there are students who have to go through a different, type of education, a type of schools. So I think that was kind of like, it was a good way to connect my education background with this NGO work that I used to do. So I started sharing what I did in PlayOnside. I started sharing like the situation in Mesot. Students, they want to learn more. Teachers want to be part of this in different ways. So fundraising was one way to do that, like having students to organize their own baking sale, having this interviews online using Skype. That was a good way for me to connect, to keep this connection with you guys, with PlayOnside. And that was one way to empower my students to, have an open-minded, be more connected with global issues. So having students, after 2 years and coming to me and asking me like, how is Javi doing? How's PlayOnside is doing? Are they having a new tournament? Is it, the raining season tournament is something that they couldn't believe. It's like how kids can play with all the mud and having fun at the same time. So that's something that students, they keep asking me, are they having a rainy season this year? So I try to keep in touch with you guys in a way of, I will try to promote these kind of interviews, connections, and activity with colleagues, with students. And that's something that, along all these years, I will try to give this kind of feedback or, idea that I might have of, this is what you guys could do to make it better. So that's kind of a way I found, to keep in touch with all your work.
Nice. Very, very clear.
Yeah.
Okay, that's I'm done. So
all right.
I give the floor to Tura.
Okay.
Yeah, Tura, go ahead.
Yeah. Based on your explanation, like it's very interesting for me to learn a lot from you, and then you have been like very energetic and motivated to have insight the best you can. Also, of course, like you already know, we migrant people we need a lot of support from you guys. So that okay, so like my first question is like, what motivates you like to support insight? You have explained a little bit about your motivation. So can you explain about it? What motivated you to support insight?
So my motivation for to continue being involved with PlayOnside, right? That's the question, right? Well, my motivation again, besides having this, family connection that we have, okay, I cannot say, I cannot forget of what you guys doing. So the motivation is, again, right now there are so many, global problems. We have Ukraine war, we have the pandemic, we have so many issues that's going on right now. And unfortunately, the way the world works is like Burmese Thai border is not in the spotlight. Yeah, whatever you guys, if we are having a hard time with the pandemic on this side of the world in Japan, it's very hard to imagine what you guys are going through, right? And that's something that, for people who haven't never been in Method, they don't understand this. It's very hard to understand what you guys are going through. The local community, the children, all these displaced people who are coming from Myanmar to the Thai border zone of Method. And that's something, that's the motivation, if you want to tell me, if you ask me, like, how can I share this, situation? How can I bring this spotlight into this kind of problem that most of the people here, they don't know in Japan. So I have this contact with, I have kind of connection with people who work in Peace Boat, which is where I start my NGO work. I still have contact with my colleagues, teachers, who they're really more into bringing these kind of situations to the classroom with middle school, high school students. So my motivation is, how can I build this bridge between these, the current problem that you guys are having over there, and this community where I work right now, this Japanese international school community, how can I bring that bridge in order to empower them to know more about, look, it's not only what you see in the news, it's more than that, Right now, everything is Ukraine, which is very sad, pandemic, the economy situation in Japan, for example, but we are not that empathetic with things that we don't know. So my motivation is to create this bridge between, the community where I work now, students. And I guess it's my educator side that comes up right now. It's like, yes, I want to, I know I can make a difference by introducing these kind of issues. It's my role as educator to motivate my students to take some action, to be aware of, it's not only what you see on your phone, it's more than that. And, when you know about these kind of problems, how do you feel? What can you do? So those are the things that, I find kind of my motivation to, to get involved with these wonderful organizations like PlayOnside.
Nice. So it's kind of creating an impact back home, no? As I understand. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's very hard to, and I think it can happen to any expat in Mesa. When they go back to their countries, it's like, they won't forget about what they've been doing in Mesa for 1 year, 6 months, or 5 years, or 8 years in your case, or more than 8 years. You will always find a way to, is that right? 8 years, right? Or more? I don't know. 10 years, my God.
My 10th anniversary,
So,
no me felicitaste.
yeah, so I think if you add Tura, if you add any expat who've been in Mesa, they will always try to find a way to connect. And I don't think it's motivation, it's more like a duty in a way of, like that you believe in what you did, and you need to continue with, that belief that you have at the beginning.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, that is very great. And like, as for me, like, your education background is very impressive for me, very interesting, and you have a lot of good experience, including like sport area and teaching. So what valuable skills and experience that do you have that you would bring to this role as an ambassador?
What kind of experience I can bring to the team? That's kind of, yeah. All right. So
your new role,
yeah,
like
yeah.
as an ambassador, that actually you have already ambassador in PlayOnside.
Okay, with the official title, with the official title of ambassador. Okay. Well, one thing that I noticed, like, and not only my students, but also like these days I'm involved with kind of coaching or assistant coaching, or let's say digital manager of one local football academy, which is called EFAO, European Football Academy of Okinawa. So I've been I've been helping them with the digital media side, right? How to promote their work. So one thing that I noticed, I can talk about PlayOnside hours and hours. I can share what I did with, PlayOnside. But one of the questions that I always ask is like, so how are you connected with PlayOnside, right? Are you working for them? So no, I don't need to have any, official role with PlayOnside for, since I left there. But I always, like we talked before, right? I feel this kind of like inside duty in a way to share what I did and to, like what we discussed. How can I can build this bridge between a global situation that's happening, how it's affecting the pandemic in Mesod is something that, I don't need to have a role to share with other people. EFPO, this community, this football community here in Okinawa, there are many American families, yeah? So for those who don't know, Okinawa, there are many American bases, okay? So in these American bases, there are so many American families. So that's kind of the community that I'm involved these days. So one thing that I noticed that, again, going back to like, Mariano, what is your connection with EFAO and so on? So they asked me, are you getting paid for what you're doing? So no. So I think if you ask me like, okay, as a PlayOnside ambassador with official title, I think that can give me like it can open more doors in a way of how to introduce what is PlayOnside doing? For me, it's all about awareness, right? So we talk about how awareness is empowering for not only students, for anybody who wants to get involved, who wants to know more about what happened in small places like Mesa, for example, right? So, like it or not, people care about titles. Some people really care about titles. So being like a PlayOnside ambassador, like official ambassador with the badge and everything and the t-shirts, hopefully, it really I can share my voice, my experience with new communities in a way. So I think it can allow me to have a stronger impact in what I say. I can have a different, hopefully more active, reaction from those communities. And I give you an example just to give you an idea of what I'm trying to say. Last time we were making a baking sale, yes, kind of like a fundraising with this football community. First, I was just sharing what I did, what happened in Mesa like 4 years ago, without any, specific role of, I have to make money. That was not the goal. The goal was to just introduce, how football can give you tools to be a better person, how football can open doors for you to improve your communication skills, be more responsible, life skills. Right, that was the goal of this little workshop that I had as part of EFAO. So after the workshop, many parents came to me and they asked me like, oh, you should, collect some money with this. If you tell people that, all about this work that you did, if you try to charge some money or ask for donations, you will have a lot of money. And then again, the idea is not about making money or collecting money for PlayOnside. The idea is to, share this situation with people that you never know how they're going to react, how they're going to get involved with PlayOnside. And so some of these parents, they say like, well, if you have a role like an official role as a PlayOnside, I will share what you did with other people. So, and that was something that was bothering me. And at the same time, I tried to understand like, wow, yes, people care about this kind of role because it gives them kind of like a proof that I'm part of something. And that was kind of,
I give more credibility to.
I think that credibility is the key, like it or not, again, I'm not a big fan of those kind of things, but sometimes it really can open doors that you never thought that will be open for you. And I think that's the kind of curiosity for me. Like, how can this role can open? Yes, you never know what's gonna be next, right? And
Stop you. It's like, oh, are you the new ambassador of PlayOnside? Oh, and then
let's see how strong is the word PlayOnside ambassador and how it's going to affect my future career. That's the challenge that I want
to see conferences and stuff.
But just honestly, like like we were talking before, like the PlayOnside ambassador role is more like what I've been doing for the last 4 years since I left. I'm doing the same thing, but now I will have a beautiful badge somewhere on my t-shirt. But so again, just to make it official, you can add it any name, like I don't know, the ball boy PlayOnside Mariano. That one, for me, yeah, it's not gonna affect much. But again, it's not gonna change much on what I've been doing. I think I will take it more like, not pressure, but it's a good pressure that I'm official PlayOnside ambassador, and now I have to bring my game in a different level. So that's the way I take it.
For the next 10 years, that is the contract that
I need to read the small letters, I guess, because I missed that. Yeah.
It wasn't missed.
Yeah, I have to go through that contract again, I guess.
Okay, that is great. Okay, now you already have the officer role as an ambassador inside. So okay, so like okay, so like you know, um, just let us know like what are the biggest challenges that you foresee in this role? The biggest challenges.
Well, like I was saying, right? I need to bring this game in a different level. A different level means how can I reach more people, or how can I reach other organizations who share the same values as as PlayOnside, right? And that's something that again, I'm a full-time teacher, head of tech integration in my school. I moved to a new place a few months ago, 3 months ago. So how can I find that lifestyle that I used to have when I was in Thailand? When I was in Thailand, I was having, like I was a teacher Monday through Friday. And then on the weekend, I was focusing on how can I improve the coaching program in PlayOnside? How can I connect? How can I improve the social network or the network of PlayOnside? So that was kind of like not my hobby, but it was like my weekend thing to do, right? So going back to that life, again, I have 2 kids now, they are growing. So I think that's kind of the challenge that I can foresee right now. Like, how can I motivate myself to put my game into a different level, and at the same time have an impact into, what I want to see PlayOnside in the future. Going to PlayOnside with I don't know, Japanese group, or running some kind of football tournament with, all these ideas I'm thinking right now. I think make it to a reality, that's kind of a challenge for me to, to put all these small pieces in the right place. So I think that's is going to be the main challenge right now. How can I adjust my time schedule to make sure that I bring these opportunities for PlayOnside and for me as well, because as you know, with the PlayOnside ambassador role, it's gonna be open so many new doors, right? So I need to be ready for that too. Yeah.
That's
Perfect.
great. Yeah. Okay. So the last question is that what message you want to give to PlayOnside team and our supporters?
All right, this is something I was thinking, like again, just to show my transparency, like I got this question before. So I was thinking, last night I was thinking, what's the message that I want to share, right? And I wrote it down, actually, I wrote it down because I was thinking, it have to be, something that represents what I've been doing for these 8 years with you guys. So, there are 2 things actually. I was checking your website. I was thinking of what I did already we did together. So again, it's all about awareness. Since the first time on September 2015 when I arrived there, I want to create awareness about what you guys were doing there. What was the situation in Mesot, right? So again, I don't know if because of my teachers when I have in Korea a long time ago. But yes, awareness is everything. Once you start creating this awareness and, that little curiosity in a way for people, is very empowering, because you can, you don't know how it's going to touch the story of PlayOnside with different people. You don't know how, when I share this message, or when you guys, when people know about PlayOnside, you never know how the people from the other side of the screen, they will see and how they want to get involved. So creating awareness about PlayOnside is the main thing that I would like to share on this message. Like how can we get involved with the work that you guys do, knowing that for the last 10 years, you have always have a great impact in the local community. How PlayOnside has grown from those coaching program with no coaches around into what you guys are now. So that's something that I want to make sure that people know about. I want to see that when you have a small idea, or when you have a crazy idea and start thinking and dreaming about, and when you put 120% of your work on that, it can turn into something very positive for not for you, but for some people who really need it. So that's kind of my message from me to anybody who see this or who read this message, is like, get involved and dream about how this little thing that you do is going to impact somewhere else in a much bigger, very crazy way, to somebody who really need it, somebody who need that really changed. So that would be my message, more or less. I hope you guys got the idea.
Sure. Did you write it down?
No, that was not it. That was not it. Okay. So, but as an Argentinian, I'm still are. I need to expand a little bit,
That's the thing. Okay. So, Turan, do we have any more questions to our new ambassador, or we let him enjoy the typhoon and the family?
The typhoon is already gone, I think, hopefully. But yes, still raining.
Okay.
Yes. It goes like that. Yes, very small typhoon.
I thought it was like a day of like mess around. Okay.
No, sometimes goes like this. 3 hours is gone.
3 hours. Well, I hope everything is okay. Then you can go enjoy your family. Say hi to the kids, to your wife. They are also they are part of this too. So
Yes.
they have to all responsibilities. And yeah, hopefully we can see each other face to face soon in Japan, here, anywhere.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Sooner or later, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think so too. Again, thank you so much for all the support over the last 7-8 years, for taking the time to help us to bring awareness everywhere you go. And for us, we already, it's been massive impact that you have had in PlayOnside with your ideas, with different perspective about social work, about communities, about networking, about IT in the classroom. That is also something that makes us grow, reflect, and of course to get where we are now. So Mariano, Hapumahap, thank you very much.
You're welcome, guys. Okay, it's my pleasure, and I will try to do my best to keep up to these expectations as well. Huh?
Okay. We will send you the budget for your activities as an ambassador. Very quick.
Awesome. Sounds good.
And your business cards as well. So...
my business card as well. Yes, don't forget. All right, guys, it was my pleasure, and I look forward to having this kind of meeting more often.
Yes.
Sharing my reports with you guys.
Totally. Have a good day. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, take care. Okay. Bye-bye.
Good job.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.